How are you affected when someone in your family is upset or struggling? Does it feel uncomfortable? Do you try and make them feel better by saying or doing something in order to eliminate the discomfort? Or do you react or mirror their emotional state? There is good reason for this, and we're going to dive into how to navigate it. Welcome to the Seasons of Joy podcast. This is episode 171 entitled Other People's Emotions. My name is Jill Pack, and I am your host. I remember when my children were young and they would get hurt. My husband and I would say, rub it. And we did everything we could but stand on our heads to get our children not to cry or to be upset. And this was modeled to us in society. We saw other parents do the same thing. Our parents did it. And as I reflected on this experience, I realized how often we all do this in our lives, especially with the people we love most. When someone in our family is struggling, we can feel their discomfort as if it's our own responsibility to solve. But what if other people's emotions, even our family members' emotions, are not ours to manage? Now, I'm not suggesting we become cold or disconnected from the people we love. I'm not saying we shouldn't care or offer support when it's needed and wanted. I'm talking about the difference between loving someone and taking responsibility for how they feel. Maybe there's someone in your life that you felt like you needed to walk on eggshells around. You try so hard to say or do the right thing, or at least you're trying not to do the wrong thing and make them upset. I have had relationships like this, but the harder I tried to manage other people and their emotions, the more miserable I became. I began to lose sight of the person I wanted to be. And this created more and more disconnection in my relationships. When we try to control or fix other people's emotions, we're actually making their experience about us. We're saying, I can't handle you feeling this way, so you need to feel differently. But emotions aren't problems to be solved. They're part of the human experience. They're information. They are telling us something that we need to be aware of. And when we rush in to make someone feel better, we might actually be interfering with something important that they need to process. Think about it. When your spouse is frustrated and you immediately try to cheer them up, what message are you sending? When your adult child calls you upset about work and you jump straight into problem solving mode, what are you really saying? You're saying that their emotion is wrong, that they shouldn't feel the way they're feeling, that you're not comfortable with their discomfort. The better that we get at allowing that discomfort we are experiencing when someone is struggling, the better able we are to create space for them to process their emotions so that they can listen to what the emotions are trying to teach or tell them. My husband is good at this most of the time. In those moments when I'm venting to him, he often just gets quiet and just listens. And in not very long, I've worked through the frustration I was feeling and I'm able to move forward. But there are other times when he tries to fix and solve for my feelings of frustration. I've noticed that what often happens in this case is that I seem to get more upset because he's trying to change the way I feel. Sometimes I'll say, I just need to feel frustrated right now, or I just need to feel angry right now. He knows that when I say that, I'm not looking for him to fix anything, but to just be with me in that moment. I love the example of the Savior in the scriptures. When Jesus encountered people in pain, he didn't rush to make their emotions disappear. He sat with them, he acknowledged their experience, he wept with Mary and Martha when Lazarus died, even though he knew he was about to raise him from the dead. He honored their process. He allowed them to feel their feelings without trying to hurry and move past their experience. This is the kind of love I want to offer. Love that doesn't require people to feel differently for me to be okay. So, how do we do this in our families? Well, first, we notice when we're taking the emotions that aren't ours. You want to pay attention to your body. When your teenager is stressed about school, do you feel that stress in your chest? When your spouse is worried about work, does that anxiety become your anxiety? That's your signal that you might be carrying something that isn't yours to carry. Second, ask yourself, what do they actually need from me right now? Sometimes it's just someone to listen, sometimes it's a hug, sometimes it's practical help. But often, what they need most is the space to feel their feelings without someone trying to fix or change them. And third, you want to practice saying to yourself, their emotions are their experience, not my emergency. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to let them have their own journey. When we stop trying to manage other people's emotions, we actually become better at supporting them. We can be present without an agenda. We can listen without trying to solve. We can love without conditions. When people feel truly heard and accepted in their emotions and how they're feeling, they often move through them more quickly and easily than when someone is trying to rush them to feel better. There are three steps that I want to share with you that you can take to support a loved one who is struggling. First, we can normalize what they are feeling. There are no bad emotions. They are just emotions. They are vibrations in our body. They are what help us move through the experiences of life. We are meant to have emotions, all of them. They are normal. Second, we can validate their emotions. It makes sense they're feeling the way they feel because of their past experiences and their interpretation of their circumstances. Their brain is trying to make sense of what is happening in that moment. Of course, they feel the way they feel. And third, we can empathize with them. We may not have gone through the same circumstances or situations as they have, but we have all experienced uncomfortable emotions like hurt, frustration, anger, disappointment, sadness, loneliness, or shame. When we can normalize, validate, and empathize, we can hold space for other people to feel what they feel without needing to fix it or take it upon ourselves. So here's my invitation to you this week. Notice where you might be taking on emotions that aren't yours, especially with your family members. Practice offering presence instead of solutions. See what happens when you give the people you love permission to feel exactly what they're feeling. And remember, you can love someone deeply and still let them have their own emotional experience. In fact, that might be the most loving thing you can do. Thank you for listening, and I wish you a joyful week of allowing others the space to feel. If you want to learn more about creating healthy relationships, I invite you to visit seasons coaching.com, and I'll see you next time.